Welcome to Gary's Grow Your Own Food. Today we're going to do a walkthrough, kind of an update of how everything's growing. I'm going to try to do these once a week just so you can see, how things are coming on, how well things are doing. First thing we're going to look at is the carrots. They're really starting to grow like gangbusters. They're doing well. You can't even see the leaves out there over top of them during the cold snap. Then we do have some of the citrus, and leaves don't look great, but it is winter time. Here's the loquat tree, and you see its fruits are setting, it's starting to grow. It's also starting to push out some new growth, so it's happy in its new pot. But we just got several fruits on it, so that's why I'm growing the pot, because I get several fruits off of it. The ones that I grew out in the ground, they're all, it's a total failure on them. The one dwarf tomato plant that I've got sitting here, it's kind of having a hard time putting on fruit. It is starting to bloom some, but it's looking good. I'm leaving it outside. If it gets below 40 degrees, I put it on the porch so it won't get a frost on it, because they are frost sensitive. The garlic here is starting to do good. It's going coming on. You're seeing, here, there. This here is the buckwheat that I planted as a cover crop, and I don't like buckwheat because it tends to do that. But it's not a bad weed. You can pull that up in 30 seconds and be done with it. But you are seeing the garlic come up. It just took a long time to come up. This is my lychee tree, the new one that I brought last year, and it's looking okay. It's starting to get a little bit stronger. I'm hoping it go ahead and bulk up some, so when it gets windy weather it won't break the trunk. The cherry of the Rio Grande, it made it. Like I say, it sat right there, so it didn't get any pampering whatsoever. Not all, I think some of these, and they might not be dead, but because you see that one looks kind of dead too, but at the top you still got leaves on it. So, but I'm really surprised. Like I said, we got down to 15 degrees and it survived it, and it's done this twice. So it is a pretty hardy plant. That's what you're needing. Now the loquat tree the lychee tree over here suffered some damage. This here peach tree is starting to bloom out. I think it's the tropic snow. I think it's my oldest peach tree. And a lot of times people say you don't want these suckers growing and cut them off, but the sucker's about all I have left, and it's got a lot of blooms on it, so it's going to go ahead and make. I'll probably do a deal on how to thin a tree or prune a tree one of these days. But a tree like this, you got to be careful because you don't have a whole lot of stuff left. You'll come around here, son. This around over there. This is a longan tree. It suffered a lot more damage than I thought it was going to. I mean, it's going to be fine. It's going to grow, but I'm afraid that I've killed back past the part that's going to fruit. So that's not a good thing. But I didn't bring it in one night that I should have. So tends to be more sensitive even than the lychee tree, which it's not supposed to be. But sometimes when you look at cold tolerance and stuff, that doesn't always mean. So that's a little more cold tolerant than another one, but that doesn't. When you get to freeze, sometimes little differences will make a big difference. There's the two pomelo trees that I've got growing, and we come up over here. This is my nectarine tree. Now I'm going to have to be careful because it's got nectarines on it now, and if it warms up much, because there's a little nectarine there, and it's got some over here, we have a bug called plum cuculio, and that's what puts the worms in the fruit. You got to watch that. I'm also going to have to spray for a fungicide, keep these things from rotting. And about that size we need to start. The only problem is it's way earlier than the rest of them, so I'm kind of reluctant to do it. But probably won't do it this week. Probably by next week I'm going to have to. The greens are really starting to take off. This is the later greens that was planted. They're doing good. I mean, can't complain about that. The Gramachamba doesn't look good. We'll see if it makes it or not. Like I say, it hadn't made fruit so long. And there's the other one that I planted earlier, and it's really starting to take off. So that's the thing. If you're having some of those seeds and it's not really taking off, sometimes it's light sensitive, and right now we're starting to get that close to February 15th or whatever, and that's when stuff really starts to grow. I've noticed the ryegrass growing out in my pasture is really starting to take off now. So you start getting into February sometime, it kind of triggers those plants realizing that the sun lengths are getting longer, so it will start growing. You can have really warm temperatures, you know, January 1st, the stuff won't grow. But doing it February 15th and it will. So, and coming up over here, this is how the tree should be looking, because this is a higher chill tree. It's the Apiarium tree, and it's a cross, so it's, you know, this is how they should be looking. Starting to swell a little bit, but still, you know, we still may have a few more cold snaps, but here's another. I think this is Tropic Beauty or Tropic Snow, and it's blooming out. And these blooms will probably make it. I'm not that worried. Of course, I said that a few years ago and they all died. But unless we get a really cold snap, again, this one, and at this stage, if we get a cold snap, it's going to be okay until those blooms pop open. They're pretty safe from your cold weather. This is the tree that it's Roddenberry, and it's one that you can plant from seed. So I'm going to try to stay on top of fungicide. It's a late bloomer, and when you get those late blooming fungicides, I mean late blooming trees, sometimes that brown rot gets really bad on, so you have to hit the fungicides. I have to use synthetics on that, and you know, I've even known one guy, he's organic almost all the way, but he plants synthetic fungicides on his trees because he says there's nothing else works. So some things, if you're going to grow, you're just going to have to use synthetics. I try not to use them until I have to. This here is the, what is it? Flat Wonder, Flat something. A&M put it out, and I never can remember the name of it, but it's doing all right. I think it went some. You know, I said this other day was a lemongrass, but that's a garlic. These two here are garlics. Came back from the seed part of it, so now I need to trim that up and see if it comes back. The blueberries are now already starting to pop open. And it's a time for them to. They're southern high bush. They bloom in February, and they can take a fairly cold temperature anyway and still make. So if it gets down to 28 even, I think I'm safe. Here's the another blueberry. I believe it's the O'Neill, and you know, it's fully bloomed out. It does not have any leaves on it, which it tends to do every year. This here is the Sweet Crisp. Yeah, I forgot the name of it. But it's one of the best tasting ones of it. It's got a nice firm texture to it, and you know, it's got the little. And what they have to do, the bees have to get in here, crawl inside that deal, and fertilize it from the inside. Some bees will go to the outside and cut there and get this stuff, which is bad because they miss fertilizing. But got a little bee there that's hitting it, and they're doing well. This one here I think is Snow Chaser, and it was one that I had in a fabric pot. For blueberries, I don't like fabric pots because they dry out too fast, so and it kind of fell apart, so I took it out of there, I put it in here, and it never has really adjusted to this pot, even though it's been 3 or 4 years now. It just never really has adjusted well to it, but you know, it's still got some blooms right there, so I keep it going. And I think this one is Pink Lemonade, and it tends not to make a whole lot, but it's got some blooms on it this year, so you know, maybe it will. It helps that the neighbor has a blueberry farm, about 10 acres of blueberries just over there, so the bees come over here and maybe help pollinate it. It's a cross between a rabbit-eyed, I think, a northern high bush. So, but it's kind of really, if you can get them bloom at the same time, I think you're okay. I've heard varying people talk about it. Some people say that they won't cross-pollinate, but the problem with this one hasn't been it won't pollinate. It just wouldn't bloom. And this year we got enough cold, but it wasn't too cold it killed anything. So I think this year we're gonna make a good crop on it, unless something happens. Got our fig trees up over here, and you know, if you're gonna do your fig cuttings, right now is a good time to do them because they're ready to start blooming out. So they're also gonna be ready to start producing seed. And I haven't mentioned a whole lot about the figs, but like I say, this is the time to you know, start getting ready to make the cuttings. And anyway, that's the part we're going to be talking about today. That'll be the end of this one. I will be putting up another video. This here is starting to leaf out. So, but anyway, I'm going to do a separate video on the orchard and the raised beds and the in-ground gardening. Make them separate that way, because some people just want to see I know you just want to see about the containers and stuff, and other people would want to see what's the other garden. Some people want to see both. But anyway, thanks for watching. And I forgot about the seedlings that I was going to show a video of, and that was the main reason I was doing this. So, as I said last week, shout out Columbo. Just one more thing. These are my micro dwarf tomatoes. This is Bonsai, which makes good. Pinocchio, and they're Red Riding Hood, and they're pretty little plants. They'll only get about 12 inches tall and put on a lot of tomatoes, cherry tomatoes. But you can actually grow these in the winter time and just kind of run them back and forth. If you're in my area, 9A, you know, the cold weather, you bring them in and out. It's kind of a pain, but you can have tomatoes, you know, in January even now. This here is called Fuzzy Wuzzy. It's a dwarf. Now, dwarf gets anywhere from 1 to 4 foot tall, typically. Usually 2 to 3 foot tall. Now, what I like about Fuzzy Wuzzy, if you can see, that's a very nice fuzzy leaf on it. It makes a very pretty tomato. It's very productive, and I haven't said nothing about taste, and there's a reason for that. But it doesn't have the best taste in the world. It's a pretty tomato, and that's why I grow it. It's more ornamental than anything else, but yeah, it's edible tomatoes. You can put on a hamburger or whatever, but it'd probably make a better paste type tomato than it would a good slicing tomato. And it gets Roma size, but it is a really pretty tomato. But not all pretty tomatoes taste good. Here's the tomatoes really starting to grow. Seeing a little bit of, I don't know if that's disease or what, but they'll kind of do that. I've got them sitting outside for a little bit today. It's a very overcast day, trying to get in before the rainfall. It gets a little bit of wind blowing around. You have to stiffen them up a little bit. Probably put them out for an hour or so, because when it starts windy like that, you don't want to stress them too much, but you do want to start getting them used to it. And you know, if the weather looks great, you know, you can plant them directly from here into the ground. You don't have to pot them up. The good thing about these good trays like this is those roots will grow down and not around, so you don't have a problem about circling roots. Up over here is my pepper plants, and those tomatoes were planted about 3 weeks and 2 days ago. I think I planted them last Thursday. This is a Saturday, and I planted them Thursday 3 weeks ago. And usually in 4 weeks they'll be ready. These are my pepper plants, and I have to say, you know, they haven't done very well so far. They planted about the same time, but they're starting to come up. You got one there, you got one there. We'll see. These 2 rows here are some dwarf tomatoes. Now this dwarf has only got 1 seed in it. These 3 didn't have any because I ran out of seeds. But these are some dwarfs that are coming up. And this is, I planted some seeds from the this plant here, this variegated, and they're starting to come. They're doing better than the rest of them. It's kind of surprising, because these seeds I just took out. You know, I took out the seeds and you know, took them out. I think I waited a day or 2 and then planted them. One of them I think I planted that day, and another one I waited like 3 or 4 days and then planted them. And they actually came out a little bit faster, so that might help. But they're starting like this. It's got one here, that's got one there, so they're doing okay. I did do the Cyprer B Facilia here, and I haven't got anything up on it, but it might just be, it needs a little bit warmer temperatures. I do plan on trying to invest in a germinating mat next year, but to get a good one, they're pretty expensive. And just for the peppers, tomatoes I ain't had any problems with, but there's pepper coming up there too. And it just takes a while on peppers, and I don't mind that. I don't want my peppers being ready for a while. They do not handle the cold weather at all. You will stunt those peppers, and they won't produce as well. You want that pepper to be growing well and not have any cold temperatures on it, nothing below about 45 degrees. You'll make a lot more peppers. Your good pepper years, you'll notice that you just don't get that last cold Easter freeze or whatever, or you plant after that cold spell. So anyway, for the second time, thanks for watching.